This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, hi there, friends, and thank you so much, Parker. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and this is Time Signatures. I have to tell you that I truly enjoy listening to new music on a regular basis. And man, I got to tell you, lately I've been getting a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, I love the established stuff too, but there's many times I truly get surprised when I hear a new album. And it doesn't happen every time, but many times it does. Such is the case with today's guest. At first blush, he's a bit blues, a bit R&B, definitely a little bit rock, a dollop of country, and absolutely a bit of classic rock too. Not too shabby for a kid that grew up in Transylvania with an American flag hung up over his bed telling his mother he was only visiting Romania. That dream has developed from youthful determination into something tangible with his debut album, Break My Chains, which just released a couple of weeks ago. Now, there's at least one surprise on the album. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, from Transylvania to Nashville, Kilroy Records artist Alex Kilroy, welcome to Time Signatures. This is some story you have here, man.
Thank you, Jim. You said it so nicely. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It is a pleasure. So let's get right into it, Alex, because there's a great deal here to talk about. And trust me, we're going to get into that new album in just a little bit. But I need a little bit of your backstory, if I can. Where did your journey in music begin, and at what age?
Well, I started very, very young. My father was a musical manager for a pretty renowned Romanian folklore artist in Romania. And my aunt is a singer, and she did, in Europe, she did the Eurovision and all that. So it was like professional, level. So was my uncle. He's a drummer. My cousin is a professional guitar player. So it was a lot of music going on as I was growing up. The first encounter with music would be when I was around a couple of months old. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but my father's told me this story. He was tuning his guitar. In his youth, my father played guitar in a band, but then he kind of dropped it off and started managing that band. And then he realized he had way more talent at being a manager than guitar player and loved it more. But I guess he'd made more money, I guess. Anyway,
Sure.
So as he was tuning his guitar to just play a little bit, I was matching as a baby. I was matching the tone, the string, and the tuner was kind of staying in the middle. And my dad is like, "Wow, well, let me call my friends and show them this little trick my son can do." And then they're like, "I think he has a good ear, so maybe you guys look into the music. Maybe he's gonna be a musician." Now my mother, while my father was on tour, my mother would teach me how to sing songs that from the artist that my father was managing. So this Romanian old folklore songs. So I'm singing them. And when I got good enough at around 3 to be able to sing a verse, my dad is like, "Okay, it's time to do it. We're going to put him on the stage with that artist." They dressed me up in the Romanian port, like the way people were dressing, and they made me sing a verse, and it was incredible. People loved it. 3-year-old, I was able to hold the note and sing the words, and that was my first time on stage, and I really loved it. Soon after, they decided, okay, let's we kept doing that. I think I was on national television when I was 6 singing a Romanian song.
Wow.
On the Romanian PBS, so the television, and it was incredible. And my parents said, okay, now he can do folklore, but he should learn more about the music and really dive into it. So they put me in classic music school. In Romania, we have this program. It's a vocational school. So you start from the first
Okay.
grade to the 12th grade, and you do music. Like you do all the other science and all of the, language, maths and all that. But soon after you finish the classes, you go into music, like piano, choir, solfeggio, all that. So there were 2 options in the first grade. He either studies piano or violin, and my parents chose piano. And
Okay.
it's like, yeah, we would love for him to see him in Vienna in a tux in a like, okay. So the teacher was they asked my parents, do you want him to be a professional pianist or an amateur? They said professional. So then that teacher, she was an incredible teacher, but very exigent. She was very on top of it. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna make this. She was training me to go to contests like piano.
Wow.
They call the piano Olympics, which I got number I think I got the third place in Romania at one point. So
No kidding.
yeah, it was great. So keep doing that and for me it was not a lot of fun because I didn't have time to play and it was a lot of like play with the kids or toys or anything like that. It was just piano. And it got to a point where I'm like, man, this is really not fun. I gotta escape this. Like I'm gonna run away. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I remember my father, like the way it went, he went to France to tour. He walked into a music store and there was a guy there selling instruments and he played bass so beautifully that my father bought a bass and a bass amp. My father just loved all kinds of music. He played a little bit of bass, a little bit of guitar. It's like, it's okay. It's good to have a bass in the house. Everybody needs a bass in the house, right? So he brought back the bass. I remember I was around fifth grade, and it was the first time when I saw like a stringed instrument. Although we had guitars, but like when I paid attention, my dad was like, "Yeah, you can play bass." And it's like what he wanted me to do was turn the TV on and go on VH1 or MTV, play 10 songs that I've never heard. Just find the root note and just find it, whatever style. So I started doing that, and that's how I kind of started having the guitar, a little bit of the guitar technique. I started with the bass, but then back to piano. Piano was the focus. And one year when I was 12, he purchased a car from Michigan and shipped it over to Romania. And I was
From
excited to
Michigan.
see the from Michigan. Yeah, it's a long way. So I was very excited because at the time the car had DVDs, and I've never seen a car with DVDs in it.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, wow, let's see what it, like, wow, this is like a spaceship, right? So at that time, so press play, and Stevie Ray Vaughan live at Montreux 1985 came on. And
Wow.
I was like, "What is this?" It blew my mind how amazing Stevie was, just his energy. I saw this guy playing music and having so much fun in comparison
Sure.
with me, but playing piano and just executing something and being super nervous on stage. Just like make sure, like as soon as you get off the stage, you get critique. It's like you didn't do that right, this right. Then I'm like, where's the fun? So
Yeah.
so when I saw Stevie, I'm like, this guy doesn't care. He just gets there and does whatever he wants. Now that's freedom. I'm like, I want to
Now,
do that.
I want to bring you back just a little bit because as I was preparing for this interview, I was reading up on your history, and you called
Yes.
yourself a lone wolf as a young man, deciding to spend time talking with the adults in your life as opposed to playing with kids your own age. And I have to tell you, man, I can totally relate to that. I remember I had a very similar experience when I was growing up. They used to call me the 35-year-old midget, and because I'd rather be with the adults than the kids. But talk about that period of time for a moment, would you please?
Yes, absolutely. It's nobody asked me that question. It's funny, but it's true. So for some reason, I did really like it. I enjoyed adult conversations and their jokes, and my parents were crazy enough to be like, "I'm not crazy. I love them for letting me." When I think, I'm a father myself, and when they saw that, I can carry a conversation. Like seeing it like a 5-year-old or 6-year-old talking about politics is like the president. Do you think he did it? And people would be like, "What are you talking about?" It's because I was spending some time with my grandfather. He would watch the news, and I was just like learning all that stuff. So yeah, they
Sure.
called me an old soul too.
Yes, sir.
So I felt that way because then he's like, go play with the kids, and the kids were like just running around. They're doing, and I was always wanting to hear what they're saying, like the adults are, they're joking, and at some point my mom was like, yeah, just grab a chair and sit here, and all of a sudden I'd like to get in the conversation and kind of like bring an idea or talk about religion or talk about this and that. And I love the attention that being a kid, everybody's kind of listening to you. Is like, what do you have to say about that? Let's hear his opinion. He's six, So it was. I definitely grew up like that, and I stayed up late. It's like I feel like I've been, like you said, an old soul since I was a little kid.
Yeah. So, okay, so now we spring forward to the DVD. You
Yes.
found that DVD and it really changed your life. And from that DVD, you struck a deal with your father. What was the deal that you struck?
So I was ready to escape piano one way or another. I found Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I said, okay, I'm gonna practice guitar so much that they'll have to switch me from piano to guitar. I told my dad, and it's like, look, you're pretty good at piano. Like in life, he's like, please don't do a mistake where now you want to do this, now you want to do that, and then you don't do anything right. Follow one thing and take it from A to Z. That was his mentality. So he's like, if you're gonna do, if you want to play guitar, yes, okay. You so he listened to the because I mean we discovered Stevie Ray Vaughan at the same time, my father and I. It's not like he knew of Stevie before. He knew of Alan Jackson and a lot of the country artists, Brand Mason and so on, but
Oh,
never
cool.
of Stevie. Yeah, I mean I grew up listening to Alan Jackson and Vince Gill. Those were the two
Sure.
CDs. So talking to yeah, my dad is like, okay, you have this summer was a summer break and you got Skull Button, Pride and Joy, Lenny. If you can play these songs by the end of summer, I will switch your mom and I will switch your profile. You'll learn how to play classical guitar, and you can pursue I'll get you the guitar you want, and so on. I said, well, I want a guitar. It's like, my guitar is perfectly fine. I'm like, it's a Aria Pro 2. I think it's like a German guitar or something like that. It's very metal. And I'm like, this looks like nothing like Stevie's. Where's the single coil? It's like, I cannot do this. He's like, start on that and let me work on it. And he did work on it and got me a Fender Stratocaster within a couple of weeks. So that was
Wow.
incredible. I got back we were out visiting some family, and he's like, you got something in your room, and I remember it was a butterscotch Strat. It was wonderful. So I grabbed it, and I loved it. I practiced probably 10 hours a day because that was the problem. That's when my parents realized that I found my calling and my happy place, because they were just making me practice piano. It was always a struggle. It's like, did you practice today? No, I didn't. Go practice. Alex is crying. It's a whole thing. uh when I discovered guitar, they would have to stop me because dinner's ready. It's like, 1 second. It's like, dinner's getting cold, Alex. When they found that, it's like he really loves it. So my father was touring, doing his stuff. After 3 months, he comes back and he's like, let me hear the songs. And I did. I I learned them. I played them, and he's like, "Okay, what do you need?" Well, I need a Fender Twin Reverb, and I need a Tube Screamer, and I want. And it's like, okay. So as he's getting me all this stuff, he's like, "Can you learn more?" Why he was impressed is that, and I was too. I remember that after I got the ball rolling and I learned the first song, everything came pretty fast and easy. It almost
Wow.
felt like I did this before. It's like, oh, that makes sense. So if I play here, that makes it a major pentatonic, so I can use it anywhere. Everything started making sense very fast. So that was very good. So my father said, if you can learn 5, 6 more songs by Stevie Ray Vaughan, we can get on the road. How about that? I can be your, because he was managing this guy. He was getting out of managing the artist. He was done with managing and starting a business company and all that. But it's like, I would love to manage you. I'm like, okay, Dad, let's get it going. And during that summer, an interesting thing that happened. My best friend at the time, and he's still one of my best friends to this day, from Romania, Michael. He was a soccer player. We were the same age, different schools, but he was my neighbor across the street. So as I'm practicing, it's summer. Like, let's go out and play soccer. So he throws pebbles at my window, and it's like, hey, can Alex come out? My father came. He's like, no, he's practicing, and if you want to hang out with him, you got to come upstairs. Actually, you know what? Come upstairs for a second. So Michael comes upstairs with a little soccer ball, and he's like, "Have you ever thought about playing bass?" And the kid is like, "What? What is bass?" It's like, when you listen to a song, the foundation's like, I don't know what you're saying. He's like, "Okay, come to the room." I was practicing, like, Alex, take a moment, and he grabbed that bass that he got me years before. It's like, try this. And the kid is like, okay, so this is how you pluck it, and this is what you do. So then he's like, okay, I'd love to hang out with Alex, and we have such a great friendship. He would be in one corner of the room learning the bass lines from Tommy Shannon. I'd be in the other one learning the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. And then
Man.
we come and put it together. And we did that. It was the best time because, like we wake up in the morning at 9, he would come to my house, eat breakfast, and then do Stevie Ray Vaughan until in the middle of the night. The neighbors would be like, "You gotta take it easy, guys." Like it was incredible. So then my father
Well,
was yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say, clearly you were successful winning that challenge, okay? But
Oh yeah.
something amazing happened and you got called to open for a big name artist, didn't you?
As a child, yes. So what happened was right after this story, my father's like, okay, we got to put a band together. He
Yeah.
found us a drummer in a different part of the country. He was 9 years old. Incredible drummer. We flew
9.
in. We 9.
Now
Yes,
wait a minute. How old are you at this time?
I'm turning 13. So he's a
And
bass
your
player.
buddy's 13 also, roughly,
Yes. Yeah.
and a 9-year-old drummer.
Yes.
Wow. All right, go ahead. I'm blown away, man.
I'm actually, I have some videos from that time period, and I'm gonna send them to you
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
please do. Yeah.
I will do that. And my dad was like, okay, let's put it together. We did put it together. When we learned like 6, 7 songs, and I said, Dad, my dream is to play at Sighișoara Blues Festival. That was the premier blues festival in Romania at the time, and it was exclusively American musicians. Nobody else could play there. Only America. That was the rule. It's like blues comes from America. That's what we're gonna do. I'm like, okay. So my dad is like, I don't know how I'm gonna get you in there. I'm like, well, use your management skills. So, so what we did, we put together a video. So we have an EPK. We're playing these songs, and we send it to the guy, and the guy said, absolutely not. They're great, but no. So I don't know what I remember that we're drawing closer to the festival starting, and we got a big no. It's not gonna happen. He's like, they're great, but no, I'm not gonna break the rule. So I don't know what my father did, and I never asked. But 2 days before the festival started, he came home. He's like, "Kids, pack your bags. We're going." I'm like, "Wow, it's happening!" So we got to
Wow.
open for Lucky Peterson when I was
Oh
13.
man. What was that moment like for you, Alex? I have to ask, man.
I was so nervous. It was like when I think about it, it's almost like like a you know I don't even know. It's like a dream. A dream come true is like you're walking into this perfect world, and now everything's working out. I remember we went. This was my first show, and it was happening in a theater. And there's so many people, and we have a sound check, and we have stage hands, and I'm like, "What is this?" Like it's amazing. Sound checking, it sounded great. We have the 6 songs that we're gonna play, and my father for even before we got that, my father got us ready. We got all the stuff from eBay, like the bolero hat with the conchos, the all the clothes that like we got it because we were a Stevie Ray Vaughan tribute band, so we were the Tommy Shannon hat, this Stevie, that everything. So we got it. We were decked out, and the cowboy boots and all that. So we jumped on stage and we started playing, and it was a huge success because we were these 3 kids playing Stevie Ray Vaughan, and people loved it. And the good thing was that and I got to meet John Primer and Lucky Peterson, and they were
How cool
incredibly.
is that?
And John Primer, it's a very interesting story because he came and he's like, you're great. And he's like, if you gotta keep doing it, you keep loving the blues and you gotta make it. And he was so sweet. He's like, come with me. He takes me to the merch table and he gives me a CD and he says, keep on loving the blues. And he gives me the CD. The nice story is that I find myself in Chicago walking around and I see a John Primer show, and I had the CD with me years later, and I go grab it from my
Wow.
house, and I went to the show, I watched it, and I went to him and I said, do you remember this? He opened it up and he looked at me and I'm like, I'm here now. It's like, I cannot believe that. So that happened. It's
I got to
incredible.
tell you, John Primer is one of the biggest class acts in the blues today. I've gotten to see him a couple of times. I'm also a professional photographer, so I'll have to send you my link to my photography page, but I've shot John a couple of times. Um, the fact that he played with Muddy Waters and the fact that he played with Magic Slim and the Teardrops. I mean, it just blows my mind, to know that the man has such a deep pedigree and he's so personable. And when he sees a young person that has an interest in the blues, he does exactly what he did with you. He embraces the moment and helps to draw them in. And I think that,
Yes.
I wish every blues musician was like that. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Yes.
But what a wonderful experience for you as a young man like that. Now, I want to turn the
Oh,
page here because we
yes.
have to talk about that American flag. It hung over your bed, never came down. And at the age of 20, you had raised enough money from wedding gigs and a stint on The Voice Romania. You secured a scholarship at Berkeley College at their music summer program. What was that arrival in Boston like for a kid with such big dreams?
That was a moment that I'll never forget. It started in the plane. It started in the plane when I was as we're landing. I remember the screens. You could make it where you see the land, the belly of the plane, and I'm like, wow, there's America right there. I'm arriving. It was incredible. So I landed and grabbed my guitar, and I had a suitcase. I went outside, and I just had a stay a moment, and I'm like, wow, I've actually made it. I'm here. So it was quite an arrival, and I mean, I feel the same way. When I was a kid, I said that if I'm gonna be in America, I'll never have a sad day or a bad day. And I had plenty of bad days or sad days, but I always remember the feeling of the first day in America, and that brings me joy. And I'm like, oh, it's all good. It's all good. We're here, and this is it. So yeah, the cab ride. I grabbed a cab to take me to my hotel, and it was like the beginning of a movie, when you see all the cars and all the buildings and everything. It was quite an incredible moment. And then I have a funny story from the motel, but it's a long story. I'll save it for another time.
Okay.
Um, because let's just say this: I didn't know the motels and hostels. I didn't know the difference. And if you watch The Godfather, which I did as a child, as an old soul. I love The Godfather. But if you remember, Vito Corleone comes into Ellis Island and he has a room with a window and a bed frame. That was the room I was staying at, and it was,
That
it
actual
was,
room?
it was not that actual room, but it looked
Oh,
the
the
same.
similar. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I remember arriving in the hostel and with a guitar with this bag, and it's just a bed with a mattress on and a window, and I'm like, wow, I'm really doing this. Like
Wow.
from the
That's cool,
ground
man.
zero. It was very cool. But yeah, it was an incredible moment. Then I got to go to Berkeley. I did the summer camp there. I got to meet Tomo Fujita, which was an incredible experience. My teacher, Jeffrey Lockhart, incredible human being and teacher. And yes, I applied for it. I got accepted. I got a scholarship, and that's when the whole story with the voice started, because I got a half or a quarter, if you will, $22,000 for the scholarship. And then I realized that I need more money to actually go attend school. So in Romania, Europe, college is not that expensive. So my parents were not prepared with a fund for that. So I'm like, okay, what's the fastest way to get money apart from robbing a bank? I'm like, it's going to The Voice, which I did, and it was incredible. Like I was a finalist, but I came in second place, and then I didn't get any money for that, but I got a lot
Oh,
of experience. Yeah, yeah,
and
it's
exposure
it's
too.
a lot of exposure. I met a lot of people, and a lot of artists and actors in Romania appreciated my story, and they
Sure.
wanted to help. So they put together a show. They're like, okay, we're not gonna just leave Alex hanging. At this point, I had my visa for as a tourist, so I'm like, I can go to America any time I want. That's great. Now I'm not gonna give up on the blues dream. So the artist said, all these incredible people in Romania, like, let's put together a show, raise money, send him to Berkeley. because my scholarship was still valid. So we put on the whole show, everything. We still didn't. It was incredible, but thousands of people showed up. But we still didn't raise enough money for me to go to Berkeley. But still a substantial amount of money. So I'm like, okay, now I have this money. I have a visa. I can do something. What's my next step? I called Jeffrey Lockhart and I said, Jeff, I don't think I'm gonna make it, to school this semester. And I really tried everything. He's like, well, you don't need to go to Berkeley to play the blues, Alex. Just go out there and play the blues. Go play with the best in the world. Go learn from the best. Go be with the people. Just go into the trenches. Do that. I'm like, wow, what so inspiring. You see like a teacher, incredible. So I'm like, you know what? I'd love to. I can go to America right anytime. I have a visa. Great. I want to play at Buddy Guys Legends. How am I gonna make that happen? Okay, let's go online. Who's the manager for Buddy Guys Legends? Took me a while. Mark Maddox with a phone number. Oh, that's great. I picked up my phone, put it in. I called the number and I pretended to be my own manager because I'm like, I need to be very like talk this kid up and say, "Hey, man,
Wow.
you gotta. Hey, I'm John Smith, and I'm Alex Kilroy's manager. He just did the voice, amazing. Turn all the four chairs. It was great. He's coming on a tour in the United States. Um, just making it all up, and he's gonna be around the Chicago area, and he'd love to be at Buddy Guys Legends. I know that's a bucket list, for him. And can we arrange something? It's like, well, send me an EPK. Send an EPK, the videos, the YouTube, the songs, and he emails me back and he said, how about August 18 opening up for, I think it was Trombone Shorty. August
Wow.
18. I said, let me check to see if he's available. Hey, are you available? Yeah, he's good. So I booked myself at Buddy Guys Legends, and I'm like, I cannot believe that worked. So I called. I mean, the videos were real. Just the manager was, and the tour. But I
Sure.
called Jeffrey, and I said, Jeff, you won't believe this, but I have a gig at Buddy Guys Legends in Chicago, August 18. He's like, how did you do that? I said, I just called him. Well, I told him the story. He's like, that's brilliant. He's like, Alex, how about you get I said, I need a band. So he's like, let me start calling people. So he calls a bunch of people and he finds me this drummer and bass player. They were like Chicago. Uh, Brian Johnson, who passed away, drummer, incredible. And Andrew Howard on bass. They used to call him the Cook County Kings. A very, very good bass player, drummer, the rhythm section. They even played with Buddy Guy at some point. So
Wow.
I send them the songs. I got a plane ticket, jump on a plane, went to Chicago, Southside Chicago. The night that I landed in the morning, and I was so jet lagged. At night, I went and had rehearsal with the guys. 2 days later, we were playing at Buddy Guys Legends. And it was
Holy
great.
cats.
Yeah. And I walked in at Buddy Guys, and Mark kind of saw me. He's like, "Are you Alex?" I said, "Yeah." "Where's your manager?" I'm like, "He stayed over in Romania." "Oh, cool." Uh,
You know what? This is why I do this program right here. You want to talk about preserving the history of the blues? What a story, man. That is so
Thank
cool.
you.
But it goes to show you, man. How old are you at this point?
31.
You're young, you're still a young guy, okay? Still
I,
got lots of dreams, lots of goals and visions and whatnot. I wish more people would step out and do what you're doing. When I started this podcast, there's millions and millions. There's like I think the last number was like 4.5 or 5 million podcasters out there, and they're like, man, you got to find your niche. Well, I got my niche,
yeah.
and we're growing and we're getting there. But I'm not afraid of a little bit of work, and it's so
Mm.
cool to know that there's young people like you that are coming up in the blues because man, I'll tell you, I think the blues is in good shape. I really do with all the new young guys coming up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to talk
absolutely.
about this. I want to talk about this new album. It was just released a couple of weeks ago. It's called Break My Chains, and the project is referred to as quote a debut album rooted in freedom, persistence, and finding his own voice. Now, if you didn't believe in the persistence part, I think he just illustrated it for you. But talk about this album, Alex. I want to get your take on it.
Yes, absolutely. So this album came to be. It came to be when I did the International Blues Challenge, which I lost twice.
Okay.
so
You were
so
competing in Romania to come and
no,
compete?
no, no. So what? I was in Nashville at the time. So
Okay, okay.
I went with a Nashville band,
Got it.
and I wrote one of the songs that's on the album. I wrote it a while back with my fiance, with Sophia. She's an incredible singer songwriter. She's more pop R&B world and
Okay.
EDM, and when I wrote it, I'm like, wow, I've had this feeling of putting a spin on the blues. We call it Angel, and it's a love story. So I created it, and then we went and played, and we got a great score for everything other than blues content. So we got a 3 out of 10, and we got disqualified. So I'm like, well, I cannot argue with that, because I'm like, it's not really a blues song, is it? So, but it's rooted in blues, but it's not a blues song. So all my friends were like, do it next year. So I said, okay, I'm gonna write more blues songs, more blues. So I wrote it a little bit more bluesy, and we went. There were 18 bands in Nashville, and it was incredible. We won the big prize, and we got to represent Nashville in Memphis. What an
How
incredible
cool.
night that was. It was really,
Yeah.
really cool. So after I was when I did that, the guy who produced the winners of the previous year, which were from Nashville as well, Piper and the Hard Times, incredible band, great people.
Yep.
You probably might have heard of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're really, really cool. So their producer Trey Sasser saw me at the International Blues Challenge and called me. Well, we went to Memphis again. We did great, 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 and then bum lost again for the blues content. So it was blues enough for Nashville, not blues enough for Memphis. It's what it is. But we had a lot of fun. Great people. Um,
How
but
cool.
but Trace calls me. He's like, "Hey man, I'd love to produce an album for you." I was just becoming a dad at the time. My fiance and I, we have a daughter. She's incredible. We moved to Orlando because her family's from here, and I kind of left Nashville in a hurry, in a way. I didn't know exactly what I'm gonna do here, so it was a very interesting time. But I started playing around here and there. Trace calls me. He's like, I want to do an album for you. So think about songs. And I'm like, I've been writing for a long time, but I've never made an album. Like I kind of write the beginning of a song, the middle, forget about it. Not being disciplined was what I learned. This is how
Sure.
the album came to be. I learned discipline because I'm like, okay, we're becoming parents. It's a different stage of life. You got to do what you say you got to do. You want to be a musician, go ahead and do it, but do it, the best you can. And then I read the creative art by Rick Rubin. My mother-in-law has gotten me that book for Christmas. I read it that day, the Christmas. I read the whole thing. It was incredible. I couldn't put it down. It inspired me to no end. Trace calls. I started sending songs back and forward, and we decided upon 15 songs. Now, he told me what I need. You need funding, you need this, you need that. So, kind of like gave me an idea. I'm going to do a GoFundMe. I need a band. I need this. We want to do it at Ocean Way in Nashville. This is okay. Now I got the idea. While I was playing here, just a gig at Old Red, that Blake Shelton's place, the country bar in Orlando. Um, After I finished my set, somebody approached me, Clyde Harris. He's like, "Hey, I'm Clyde. Are you signed?" I'm not. And I got a lot of cards like that, like, "Hey, give me a call. We're talking." I'm like, "Yeah,
Sure.
sure." I got a million of them, and nothing ever happened. But this time I felt a little different, and I'm like, I want to do this album. Who knows? Maybe this will lead me to it. So I called him and I said, "Hey, Clyde, how's it going?" "Man, I was just watching your videos and I'm very impressed." I'm like, "Well, I'm happy to hear that." It's like my partner and I, we have a management company, would love to talk to you. So he invites me to meet his partner. The partner happened to be Pat Armstrong, who signed Leonard Skinner, Molly Hatchet, Quiet Riot, the Allman Brothers, worked with all these people.
Wow.
So he's rock and roll, Southern rock royalty. And I went to his house, big beautiful house. I got into his office, and it's all this like golden platinum records. So I'm like, wow, this guy really did the thing. So we started talking. He's like, "We'd love to sign you." We went up and down the contract. I'm like, "I think this is the right thing." You asked too, "Do you have any songs?" I said, "I do. I actually have a producer too that I'm talking to." So I introduced everybody to everybody. We listened to the songs. We took 2 3 days to do pre-production. We listened to everything. We chose 12 songs. One of them is a Midnight Rider. One of them is a cover. So we covered Allman Brothers' Midnight Rider. And there's a very cool story about that song because I'm jumping from one to another. But the Dwayne Roland's wife, uh, she happened to be in the studio when I recorded the Dwayne Rollins was the lead guitar player for Molly Hatchet that passed away in I think 2006. So
Okay.
his wife was in the studio because she's friends with Pat and so on. So she was helping us out while we are doing the record. We're recording Midnight Rider. That's a song that Molly Hatchet also recorded and played. So I'm getting close to like play the guitar solo, and I said I feel uninspired right now, but I need to play something cool. And she's like, "Well, I know how to inspire you. Would you want to play Dwayne Rollins' guitar?" And it's the last guitar he ever played, and
Wow.
nobody touched it since 2006 since he passed away. And
Man.
I'm like, got goosebumps. And she's like, hold on. So she goes home into the closet, into the safe with the guitars. She brings the guitar and like nobody touched it since him. And it was a very emotional moment. And I took the guitar out and the strings were in perfect shape. Everything was perfect. It's a
Wow.
hammer guitar, and it has it's just one pickup, one knob. I plugged it in, I tuned it up, and my producer said, Trey said, don't even play anything. Go to the solo and hit record. And that was the solo. That was it. One take. And I'm like, and put it back in the case. It was an incredible moment, and I'm really happy we got it on camera too. So,
This was
but yeah,
Midnight Rider.
this is on Midnight Rider. Yes, Dwayne
Wow.
Rollins guitar. So,
Man.
very very incredible moment. But yes, this is kind of how the album came to be with all these people. We put it together. I found an incredible band because I didn't know anybody in Orlando now. So we went to a beautiful, very cool hang called Jazz Tastings. It's a live venue in Maitland, Florida. The band was incredible. I jumped on stage with them, started playing. Very, very cool. And they invited me to play. I met the bass player Berlin and Jay, the drummer. They have a little band of their own. It's called Own One Band, and they're playing at church. So I never played at church. I always want to play in an African American church, gospel, and get into that vibe. And
Sure.
it's an incredible feeling. So they asked me if I want to play in church, and I said I would love to. So that's where I met my band. So we started playing, and I'm still playing every Sunday. I'm in church when I'm not touring. I'm at it's called the Shabbat Church. And we do play a lot. It's really like it's a music school for me right now.
How cool is
So
that?
yeah, it's really really fun. So what happened was we started playing. I wrote all these songs. I went to their little rehearsal space, and I said, let's give it a try, see how we sound. And the song finally came to life the way I imagined. I sent them to my producer to Trace. He loved them. The management came to see us. They loved them. We had a full show at All Red right before we signed the contract. Everybody loved everybody. I'm like, this is a match made in heaven, right? So then it's like, okay, you have the songs, we have the producer, we have the band. Time to get into the studio. I really wanted to go to Ocean Way, but being a young father, I want to be around the house.
Sure.
And there's a great studio in Oviedo called Studio Live USA, and they did a lot of things. I mean, like even they even worked with Don Henley on Cass County for a couple of tracks, and it's a beautiful little studio, and he has a grand piano and drums and everything, and he has this very old vintage vibe about it. So I loved it. Dave Michael was the tracking engineer. We walked in. Trace flew down from Nashville, and we had about 10 days, 9 days to get the album done, and we did. Miraculously, we did because what happened? I had this. Sometimes I got to be careful with what I'm thinking because I feel like I'm manifesting good, but I can manifest bad as well. prior to that, I was like, I wonder what happens if a group of people, everybody comes for your album and you get sick. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh no.
Like I got so sick I couldn't talk. Um,
Oh wow.
so we did drums and bass in the first day, keyboards. Alex get as much medicine as possible. Oh, it was terrible, and I didn't know how I'm gonna sing. And we're getting to the last 2 days, and Trace is we're both believers, but he's like, hey, you want to? Because I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. I think we're just gonna have. I'll come to Nashville. We call it so. It's like, no, we're gonna push through. So we prayed, and the prayer was answered, and somehow what's on the record was those 2 days, and it sounded great. I don't know how, guys. It was like it sounds like me. It's okay.
Yeah,
So
no, it's good stuff for sure.
yeah,
Now,
thank you.
I was reading that just prior to the release of this album, you lost your father, and my condolences
Yes,
for that. But he did get to
thank
hear the
you.
masters, yeah?
Yes, yes, which is I'm so happy about it. And we were together. So yes, my father battled, cancer for a couple of years and did
Okay.
that gracefully. And he was, it was not easy, but he made it look easy for everybody. But in November, right after we finished recording, we're getting the mixes back. And we finally found the mixing engineer to do it with Joe Costa from Nashville, who's an incredible mixing engineer. Um, in November is when I received the first two songs, and I went to visit my father in Romania. So I had him, and I remember I set up the speakers in our living room, and he got to hear. I got to see his reaction for the first two songs, and that was incredible because I was also very happy with the mix, and my father was very picky, and I'm like, I really hope he likes it because it didn't matter sick or not, living or dying. He was very perfectionist, so it was. He's not gonna say like I like it just because we're in this situation. So I was like,
Right,
oh, I
right.
really hope he likes it. He loved it, and I was very happy about that. And then when we found Trace has mentioned that maybe Ted Jensen from Sterling Sound could do the master, which was it's incredible to work with such a legendary mastering engineer. So as soon as I got the masters, I was in America, but I sent him over to my dad, and I know he put it on the speakers, and he listened to it, and we talked and notes and this and that, but we really had no notes. He loved it, and I'm really happy
Wonderful.
that he got to hear it. There's one story that I'll get back to because we have a. Do I break it? Do I go to the special guest we have on the
No, go ahead.
because it's
Go ahead.
yeah. So on one of the songs we have the legendary country artist Vince Gill playing a guitar solo on "Let the Good Times Roll," and it's a very interesting thing how it happened. Uh, uh, it took, I mean, it took 3 years for this to happen. In a way, I met Vince 3 years ago in a parking lot in Nashville, and he was very nice. He introduced me
Oh,
to
no
Amy Grant.
kidding. Okay.
Yes, that's how it happened. Like I was at sound check in Nashville, and the drummer comes in a rehearsal and said, "Hey, Vince Gill is outside in parking lot." I said, "Vince Gill is just hanging." I'm like, "Bodyguards?" It's like just him, man, by the car. I said, "Just give me 1 second." So I ran off the stage, went outside. I saw him, and I said, "Mr. Vince Gill, I'm Alex Kilroy from Transylvania. I grew up with your music. I really cannot believe I'm actually getting to meet you." And he's like, "Oh, stop it, man. Very nice to meet you." Like he's so humble. And he's like, "God, stop this. This is my wife, Amy Grant." I was like, "Oh my God. I don't know
Wow.
what to do." He's like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "Nothing special." But then I did something very, very special because he invited me to go to see the rehearsal, the Christmas show. They were rehearsing for the Ryman. So
Man.
I walk in the next day and he's there having coffee and and he invited me. We sat down, we spoke for like an hour and a half. And then the rehearsal started and I said, "Well, I think I gotta get going." He's like, "No, don't you want to hear the show?" I said, I'd be honored." He's like, "Just take a seat and relax and watch the show." So I watched the whole show from the first song to the last song was incredible. And then I felt like it's like time to go. Like I don't want to overstay. But it's like stop, stop. The food is here. Alex, go grab a plate. These are the best sliders you'll ever have in your life. It was great. And now, and I'm getting this. I knew his bass player because we did one session together. Mike Brignadello, he played on one of my
Okay.
songs. So Mike saw me. He's like, "Oh, you know this guy? Oh, you know this guy?" So that broke the ice a little bit. But Vince, there's no ice with Vince. He will talk. He would talk to me like I knew him forever, like almost like, is this real life? So he was very, very kind and humble. And now I have a plate of food, and I'm like, where am I gonna sit with the band, with the production team? And Vince is like, come sit next to me and Amy and his daughter. And I'm like, wow, I'm having lunch with them. That's crazy. So so we started talking. I never asked for a photo or phone number or anything like that. I was like, he made me feel like we're friends forever. And all I said, I'd love to jam with you one day. He's like, we're young, we have time. I said, yeah, you're right. So then my vocal coach, she's good friends with him and Amy, but Tabitha Fair. So she put us in contact later on. So,
No kidding.
so we got on a phone call, and we started talking on the phone here and there. The day Sophia and I left Nashville, that morning we were with the U-Haul. We had uh, breakfast with Vince Gill, and we were talking about his upcoming tour at the Sphere with the Eagles, and it was incredible, to hear all these stories. And it's like, man, don't be a stranger. If you come in town, give me a call, and if I come around, like, we'll stay in touch. So then I called him to tell him that I'm gonna sign this record, and the management deal, doing a record. It's like, that's great. And then he called me back some months later, because that took a while, and he's like, hey man, how's it going? How's Orlando treating you? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to get into the studio. He's like, have a lot of fun. And I said, look, I have a crazy ask, but would you, I mean, since I got you on the phone, would you play guitar or sing on one of my songs? It's like, just send me the tracks, and I'll do it. So that was I couldn't believe. So the funny thing is, going back to my father listening to the album, he heard everything but that. And that's very interesting how that happened, because I didn't want to tell him anything about, because he was such a big Vince Gill fan. I said, I'm just gonna surprise him. I mean, from where he is, he might even made it happen, some energetic way, because of course Vince is an incredible musician. He's so busy, right? He's
Sure.
everywhere. With When he's not with the Eagles, he has his own shows, or CBS, the CMAs, you
Oh
know
yeah.
so it was interesting. The timing of it was that the funeral happened, and the day later I got the song with Vince. It was like that. But from where
Man.
my father is, I know that he really heard it, and maybe he's the one who made it happen in some sort of way. That's what I like to think. But that's how
Indeed.
the collaboration came to be. So
That is such a cool story, and thank you, because I was actually going to ask you about that. I don't mind that you preempted. That's fine, because
yeah,
I wanted to know the backstory, because that stuff just doesn't happen. Well, all right, it does in your case, but it doesn't normally just happen, okay? Um,
yes.
but as I begin this question, I'm going to give you my take first, and then I'd like to get yours. Favorite cuts on the album. Now, I've got a few. I've been listening to your album for the last probably week and a half, 2 weeks now. And I'm honestly finding that the more I listen, the more I like the songs I like.
Hmm.
And I find more reasons to enjoy them. So here's mine: Break My Chains, Let Me Play the Blues, Let the Good Times Roll, and Midnight Rider. Those are the ones that really step out to me. But how about you, man? Are any favorites in this pile of tunes that you got?
Well, I know it sounds like, yeah, of course you're gonna say that, but they're all my favorites, because when we started, we have so many songs. I mean, not so many, but we have around 30 songs and ideas, and
Sure.
and we keep filtering them and being like, I love this one. I love this one. I remember us, my producer Trace and I, when we're getting, it's like, this is my new favorite song. As soon as we're getting a new master back, we're like, no, that's my favorite one. And now when I go back, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know which one is really my favorite. I know they're all honest, and it's all like a snapshot in time. It's my take on my point of view of the world in each of the songs. And that I think I love them the same.
Well, that's wonderful. And obviously, I mean, this is your first album, so you're going to have a lot of very special feelings, I'm sure, about that album because of when you look back at the history of where you came from and where you are today, it's a wonderful story. Any plans to do some touring in support of the new album? Deep in your heart of hearts, are you hoping to get back to Romania someday to celebrate your music with the hometown folks?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So touring is I cannot wait to get on the tour. That's what I love to do the most is play music in front of people with the band. So we've been rehearsing the show. We've been creating, playing all the songs. We've been playing it actually right here where I'm standing here. It's our little club. It's called the Blue Goat. It's in Maitland. So on that stage, we're gonna be there on June 5th. So
Okay.
and this is also our club and our rehearsal space. So
How cool.
we're yeah, yeah. So it's really really fun. So we've been creating the show, and in June we're going to Nashville. I'm going back to
Okay.
Nashville with this band with On One, and we're gonna play at the Underdog on June 16. We're gonna do the Whiskey Jam June 18, and then play a very cool juke joint. I think this is the last standing real juke joint in Nashville called Papa Turney's
Oh,
on Percy
wow.
Priest Lake. So we're doing that in June, and now there's more talk about doing some other dates in July in the Northeast. So we're working on that as well. And I'm I'm now getting started in a way as a solo artist, blues artist emerging. So we're putting the team together. We have a great publicist, John. We have the management is wonderful. The team, and now my management is looking for this perfect agent, the perfect booking agent that can create all this, the tour. And yes, we would love to go to Europe and play. And I'd love to. There's a great blues festival in Romania called Brezoi, where I played the
Oh, yeah.
first festival. Yeah, Brezoi. I played that. I think I played the first edition when I was still living in Romania, and I'd like to
Wow.
return at some point. So
Wouldn't that be
yeah,
cool, man?
that would be really cool.
Indeed.
The
All
whole
right,
circle.
Alex. Yes, yes, 100%. Let's help folks learn where they can learn more about you, maybe pick up a copy or two of this new album, or to get you booked for a gig. Where do we send them for all of this?
Yes. So first off, my website alexkilroy.com. Also, that's where we're gonna have the album. We're working right now. What's my marketing guy, my friend, is putting all together so people can order their CDs, and the CDs will make it to everybody's houses. So we're doing that, and we have vinyls coming. So I'm very excited about
Woo!
that.
All right.
Yeah, I love vinyls. I can't wait to see that. And of course, if you go on alexkilroy.com, you will find all the links to stream because you can stream the album, of course, on Spotify, Tidal, on Apple Music, and so on. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's where I put a lot of clips and a lot of like stories, and that would be Alex Kilroy Official on Instagram, and of course
Okay.
Alex Kilroy on YouTube and Facebook. So that's about
Okay.
it.
We'll make sure to put all those links out there for you. But Alex Kilroy, it has indeed been a pleasure. I wish you safe travels and the best of luck with your fiance and that little one as well. Enjoy them while they're small because they don't stay that way for very long. And
I see.
in any time that you need to promote an album or a tour, by all means, hit me up. I'll be glad to have you back on. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Excellent. Well, before we close this episode, I want to remind you that it takes an estimated 6,700 streams to raise the equivalent of a $20 CD purchase. Believe it or not, those numbers are real. So I've made it my policy to buy music from the artist first, and then and only then I will stream from the various platforms. As Brandon Santini says, buy the ticket, buy the shirt, tip the bucket, grab the CD or vinyl, even if you don't own a player. Maybe that shirt spends its life folded in a drawer. Maybe that record sits on a shelf. But to the artists that are out there putting miles on vans and chasing stages night after night, those purchases make a real difference in today's economy, where fuel and lodging costs are on the rise, while most performance fees are not. If live music means anything to you, This is one of the best ways to keep it alive and keep it returning to your town. And as always, my friends, thank you so much for your consideration. And that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to our guest, Alex Kilroy, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long, everybody.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.